Podcast Amsterdam.
Okay, so Middlebare Mashup then. We are coming to the end of the mini-series, and we've been, in the recent weeks, we've been going over all the schools that you've been considering. So anyone who hasn't caught it is interested can go back and find the podcasts online there and or on our website. And but today you're rounding up with one final school and then a look at what happens next.
Yeah, exactly. So Cygnus, Cygnus, is a standalone, so self-standard, that's what it's called in Dutch, standalone gymnasium school, and it's located just on the east of the Amstel River.
Okay.
So kind of Amsterdam Oost Centrum, sort of. Yeah. Oost, really, I think. It's going to be on our list for sure. Oh. So it's one of the 5 gymnasia in Amsterdam. The building is called, they moved into the building, I think. It's a really old building that was renovated. And they moved into it, I think, around 2014. Okay. So it's like, I think it was built maybe back in the 30s or 40s, and it won an award for architecture. Yeah. Gosh, I'm trying to remember. What was the style back then? I think it's like, it was built in the Bauhaus style, I think.
Oh, right, okay.
I think. And it's won architectural awards, and the kind of, I think, colloquial name for it is het schip, because it's sort of in the shape, it's standing on these kind of concrete, I think. Maybe it's not concrete, but standing on sort of, I was going to say bollards. That's not even the right word. But it's standing up. It's lifted up sort of off the ground.
Somehow, yes.
And kind of resembles a ship.
Okay.
I believe. Yeah. So when it was built, it was kind of like in the industrial kind of, I think, Bauhaus style. Anyway, I'm not an architect, but I definitely know that it's won awards. And inside, it's really, it's really interesting. It's kind of different to, say, a couple of the traditional gymnasia that we've mentioned, like Vossius Gymnasium and Barlees, those kind of old buildings. This is a different kind of a building. It's really nice. Subjects in first year would be Dutch, French, German, English, Latin, ideology, which is interesting, history, geography, maths, biology, techno-science, music, visual art, gym class. Yeah. Sorry. And you can also pick an elective in the Underbouw as well. In the first couple of years, first and second year, you can pick an elective from subjects like astronomy, photography, psychology, architecture. And then in year 2, you take on Greek, physics, chemistry, and in year 3, economics and philosophy. So they're the subjects that Cygnus offers. Yeah. They have fast lane English, kind of, I think. They don't have, say, separate Cambridge English classes like Vossius Gymnasium would, but you can, and I think Ignatius maybe, but you can work towards the Cambridge English exam, and you can work towards the Delft, the Delft French exam, and the Goethe German exam, with the support of the language teachers there. So if you want to get those language certificates, you can definitely do that in Cygnus.
Yeah.
Their activities, they have a school newspaper, they have a debating club, chess club, they have a student council, who take suggestions from kids and complaints, but suggestions about how to improve the school or different things that they would like, activities that they'd like to see in the school. So, you can set something up if you want. They take part. They have a film house. They started that just before the lockdown last year. I think at the end of the previous year. So they have like a film thing in the aula, in the auditorium. And they were going to show films that I think they voted on or something every couple of months. So I presume they'll get back to that now next September. Yeah. They put on an opera each year. So that's supported by professionals from the National Opera in Amsterdam.
Amazing.
Yeah, so that's their kind of big musical extravaganza, and they write, so you can take part, you can sing in it, you can dance, you can write the screenplay, you can get involved in the technology, the backstage stuff. So they put the whole thing on themselves. They take part in the Greek Classical Olympiad. So, and they actually, this is a national kind of competition for the Greek language among secondary school kids. Wow. And they won it last year. They had one of their young students won it, Ella Slot. which is very cool. Around their kind of subjects, their extra subjects, or programs, sorry, I should say, they have an enrichment program. So they have an enrichment coordinator. So for children who, if gymnasium is not enough, you can do even more. Cygnus.
Goodness me.
So if you need to, deepen your knowledge or broaden your knowledge, it's kind of like expanding, I suppose. It's not about doing more, but you're just learning in a different way.
Yes.
That's kind of what they say about it in their enrichment program. And that's called Ad Astra. And you can do that in year 2 and year 3. So if you're interested in that, if you feel like yourself, it's funny, like on the website they say, if you feel that you can do more, then you can contact the enrichment coordinator. You wouldn't be going there now to the enrichment coordinator if you just had like 6s, all 6s.
Yeah.
The Dutch system, you're marked out of 1 to 10.
Yeah.
So, do you know this?
No, I'm just in my head. I'm just comparing it to the IB system that my daughters are in, and
okay.
Yeah, so I know that there's the marking scheme there has taken some getting used to, and but
I'm going to blow your head with this now.
All right,
because
go right ahead.
It's out of 10, even so basically from first year onwards, it's out of 10, and to get a pass, it's 5.5.
Okay.
And so anything under 5.5 is a fail. A 6 then, like basically anything over a 5.5 is like, it's not even average, it's a bit above average, like it's sufficient. That's kind of how they say it. And then, 5.5, 6 is fine. It's fine. A 7 is good. An 8 is like really good. Like that's like a great, great mark.
Yeah.
Like it's almost an excellent mark. 8, and then 9 is practically outstanding, and 10 is almost unattainable.
Yes.
Like nobody really gets a 10.
Yes.
That's kind of how the Dutchies don't give 10s very easily. Like you might get a 10, for example, in your, if you had a language test and maybe 100 words or something like that in French or Latin or something. And if you got them all right, you would get a 10. So there have been 10s in this house. There have been 10s.
Yeah.
But to get a 10, say, like in your... they have other types of tests called proofworks.
Yeah. And
they have a much heavier weighting system. So, like, to get a 10 in the proofwork is really, like, it hardly ever happens. Yeah. There have been no 10s in proofworks in this house anyway. And I've never heard of anybody else getting one. Any friends? So like, and then if you got an 8 or a 9 in the proofwork, you'd be like, yes, that was like a good week's work there that I did, you know. Oh, I was just going to say, like, for foreign universities then, if Dutch kids want to apply to foreign universities, because the VTO diploma is like highly recognized abroad, but like some universities would ask for, like Glasgow University used to ask for a 9 average, in the final exam. So like here they do 8 subjects in their final exam, and Glasgow are asking for a 9 average, which is like it's just crazy. Like in Cygnus, actually I saw the figures of their final exam results. One person got a 9 average last year. Like that's called summa cum laude. So one student got a 9 average plus. And then Glasgow University were looking for a 9 average. So basically 9 in every subject. But they reduced it last year to 7.5. So they obviously got wind that what they were asking was kind of crazy. It's just, it doesn't happen here. Yeah. So like the very good student coming out of AVO here, if you have a cum laude, like if you get 8 average or higher, that's brilliant. Like that is brilliant. Yeah. So I think somebody set them straight and said, here, listen, it's just, you can't be asking for a 9.
Wondering why there are no Dutch students coming to university.
Maybe, because actually Oxford universities, they weren't even asking for 9s.
Okay.
Do you know? So I think theirs was 8, average of 8. Okay. So anyway, where was I? That was a bit of a digression.
In the Netherlands, you have to pass every year before continuing to the next one. This is the figure that we're talking about, is it? You must get 5.5 or over.
Exactly. Yeah, you have to get 5.5. So you have to pass. Yeah, here you have to pass every year in order to keep going. So it's a bit more pressurizing in that way because whereas in other countries, it might be your final exam is in your final year, like in Ireland, it's at the end of sixth year, 3 weeks of test or 2 weeks of test, and nothing you've really done before counts. Which I don't like that system either. Yes. Here you have to pass every year, and if you don't pass, you can repeat the year, or you would move to a lower level.
Yeah.
So depending really on what the school thinks, what you think, your parents think. But if you fail that year badly, you can't necessarily repeat. It just depends how badly you repeat it. So if you get pretty bad grades overall, then you generally can't repeat. You have to go to a lower level.
Yeah.
Yeah. And nobody really repeats first year.
Right.
In any school, pretty much.
Yeah.
So if you have to repeat first year, if you fail your first year badly, then you have to go to a lower level.
Yeah. Okay. For example, this school, as many, you've got a really broad range of subjects in that first year. And say you do above average in half of them, but you fail the other half. Where does that put you in terms of what to expect to happen next? Does that make sense?
If you failed half, then you would have to repeat.
You would have to repeat.
That year, yeah. So say, for example, our school works with a system, it's called a min point system or something like that. And I presume other schools do a very similar thing. So in the underbow, in the early years, you are allowed, for example, 9 minus points every year. So if you get 9 minus points or under, you can progress to the next year. Oh, no, you can repeat. Sorry. Jesus, you can repeat. Excuse me. You can repeat the year. So 9 minus points, you would get 3 minus points if you have a 3.
Yeah.
So say you get a 3 in your at the end of the year in maths.
Yeah.
That's 3 minus points immediately. If you have a 4, it's 2 minus points.
Okay,
so if you have 4 in English, you're already at 5 minus points.
Yeah.
And if you get like a 5 in something else, you're at 6 minus points.
Yeah.
Then you can repeat the year.
Yeah, got it.
But if it's more than 9 minus points, you're out of there.
Yeah. Right. Okay. No, that was really helpful.
In the standalone schools, in the standalone, you have to leave the school because they've only one level.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But if you're in a school where there's 3 levels, then it's fine. Well, yeah, it's fine. You can go to the next level down. You don't have to leave the school. You just move to a different program. And generally, to move on to the next year, it's called Overkong, I think. You can't have any more than 3 minus points.
Right.
So it's very specific.
Yes. Yeah, it
really is. And if you're on the border, like say if you have 3 minus points, I think maybe, 3 or maybe 4? No, I think if it's 3, they still have to, well, in our school anyway, they would still have a discussion about you. So all the teachers then kind of get around the table, very Dutch style, talk about the kid, look at his motivation. Do you think that if he moves on to, say, 3rd year next year, 4th year next year, that he'll pass? What's the chances of him, upping his rate of learning or whatever? Is he interested? Yeah. And all the teachers talk about it, and then they will decide whether you can move on. Because, if you're on the cusp, they will decide if you can move on or if you'll repeat.
Yeah.
That's how they do it at our school anyway.
Yeah.
So...
it seems very good, very, very sort of fair and thought through. But back to...
Cygnus.
Cygnus, yeah.
Yeah, I was mentioning their enrichment program at Astra. Yeah, in that program as well, you can also follow an extra course. So, for example, in visual arts, music, philosophy, or NLT, I think that was nature, life and technology. They have that subject there as well. And you can also... Oh, it's a bit too complicated about profiles. Don't worry about that. Let me see. One of their history teachers, actually, Eric X, he has an education podcast. And he also writes bi-weekly in the Trau newspaper.
Yeah.
So he's like a young... very young, enthusiastic history teacher. They're Latin. They teach Latin differently in Cygnus compared to the other gymnasia schools. They kind of teach it sort of as like a living Latin language, if you like. And they address the students in Latin. So I think it's more spoken rather than... Say in our school, it's much more, traditional
old texts and
Latin teaching. Old translations and all that. Yeah. I mean, they obviously would do translations in Cygnus, but I think how they started is different. The approach to it is different.
Really interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a different approach than the other places.
Yeah.
And also their French teachers, they work with the AIM method. Sort of sounds like they kind of use sign language.
Oh.
Sort of in a playful way.
Yeah.
As well. So their French approach is a little bit different too. What else about Cygnus? Their gym, you can see it there on the website. Their gym looks good, doesn't it? They also take part in the master classes. The 4th and 5th years take part in the master classes at the FU University, the Vrije University in Amsterdam. Yeah, they do that. They take part in the national debating competition. They take part in the European translation competitions for Latin and Greek as well. And the other languages, actually. Apparently there's translation competitions. I didn't know about that. My kids don't do it. Oh, they have a youth. They're very, they always take part in the European Youth Parliament as well. So a friend of mine, her son was there. He finished a couple of years ago, and that was one of the big things that he was involved in. They loved it. Yeah. So they go to Brussels and take part in the Youth Parliament there.
Fantastic.
Yeah, sounds
Fantastic.
Great.
Yeah. What a rich offering this school has, and in as you say, in a beautiful looking building there. Very, very nice. So it's been a clear winner with your daughter, is that right? Well,
yeah, she liked the she looked at the kids presenting, on the short videos, and she really liked them. It's also, I should say as well, it's a more diverse school than maybe the more the gymnasia that are in Zuid and Centrum. So say Barleas is in Centrum, and Ignatius and Vossius are in Zuid, Amsterdam Zuid.
Yeah,
that's 3, isn't it? And then you have Het Vierde in Noord, and then you have Cygnus in Oost. So Cygnus is more diverse than the other 3
mentioned,
gymnasia that I've mentioned already. She likes that aspect. She likes the kids. She just liked the whole vibe as much as you can get from the online,
from the videos.
Because she hadn't visited it last year. The other really cool thing that they're doing is in 5th year, because that's a law module. They have a law module available in 5th year. And psychology as well. But anyway, for the last 10 weeks, they have it on their website there. The 5th years studied, basically they simulated a real trial. So,
cool.
Yeah, so the students, they've been doing it over 10 weeks. The students took up roles as the public prosecutor, the judge, lawyer, suspects, witness, undercover officer, journalist, even a sketch artist. And the victim wasn't there, though, because he was murdered. But so, they just have to decide, make their case, are the suspects guilty or the innocent? And they're guided along by a real life criminal lawyer.
Brilliant.
And they're holding the lawsuits like at school.
Yeah.
Well, the 5th years are back in school, so that's how they're doing it. Anyway, I thought that was brilliant, really nice.
So good. I mean, how to start...
putting law into practice.
Absolutely. I mean, getting a real sort of hands-on understanding of how things work. And
So the lawyer, the real life lawyer, he's kind of guiding them through it. He's calling in on Zoom.
Yeah.
It's so as he can't be there, no adults apart from the teachers are allowed in the schools at the moment. Right. So that's how he's doing it. Their results are very good. Their final exam results are really good. Last year, 98% of the kids got their final diploma, their VVO diploma. Like I mentioned, 1 student got a summa cum laude, 9+, which is incredible. 4 got a magna cum laude, which is 8.5+, and 12 got a cum laude diploma, which is 8+.
Yeah, so
great results. We don't use that terminology in Ireland, do you?
No,
in the UK?
Not at all.
No, not at all either. But here it's everybody. Yeah,
it's quite standard.
I mentioned the beta and the alpha and gamma last week. They use these terms.
Well, it's just overall, it seems to be much more nuanced than our education system, certainly in the UK. It's been a real eye opener, this Middlebare Mashup. I love it.
Yeah. Would you recommend it?
Yeah.
Do you think? If you knew somebody who was moving to Amsterdam
absolutely.
now, and instead maybe you might have said before, go for international school.
Yeah,
Would you think?
absolutely. No, I would. Especially if they knew that they were here for the longer term. I would certainly encourage them to look into it and via our mashup for all the information, because our circumstances are different. It was a different stage of the education process when we moved here. So
your kids were older.
Yeah, we were
much older.
Not keen to give them that much upheaval, but no, certainly for the right age group and the right circumstances, I think it's the opportunities and the sophistication is like nothing I've ever come across before. It's fantastic, fantastic, very, very child-centric.
Another thing that Cygnus do, they have a Cygnus hour every week. So they have a Cygnus hour usually on a Thursday morning, where you can get extra help with whatever subject you need extra help in. Okay. So that's built into their schedule as well. Obviously, they do all the camps, the usual gymnasium camps. So they would go to Rome in 5th year for a week or 10 days. They would have their language trip for a week in 4th year to Germany, France, somewhere in the UK. Yeah. They've never actually, it's never come up for English that they ever go to Ireland. So maybe I might suggest that to some of the schools. They do a language trip over to Ireland.
Plenty of literary references from Ireland. Not references is the wrong word, but really rich, wonderful experience that would be. Yeah,
exactly. Because Ireland's really popular for other countries, actually, like Spain. French students come over, Spanish students, Italian students. There's always heaps of them knocking around the place, especially in the summer.
Yeah, and you're all still in the EU.
Yeah, that's true, actually. Whereas I've never seen Dutch students. But it would be, I suppose, a smaller cohort anyway. And obviously Dutch students, English is on a higher level than, say, French or German students as well. I mean, the Dutch, they're one of the best English speakers in the world, as second language speakers, along with the Danish. But, they do go, all these schools, the VVO schools, and maybe Havo schools, they do go to somewhere in the UK, it's Scotland or England, for their week-long thing if they want to improve their English language. So I think they should start considering Ireland as well.
They should indeed. Absolutely. All right.
Okay. So maybe we'll move on now from Cygnus. I'm hoping Cygnus would be in our top 6. We still have not submitted our lottery, our registration form for the lottery.
Okay.
So the final date is Friday night at 1 minute before midnight.
Oh my goodness, you are cutting it fine.
I know, I'm already, I'm starting, I kind of almost get palpitations now when I think of that. I'm actually thinking, what if we forget?
Yeah.
What if something happened and we just totally forgot about the registration form? And then it was midnight, 1 minute after midnight on Friday night. And then I went, oh my God, we have to do it. And then it's too late. Because, here, it's too late. Up is
really?
Up. Oh my God.
Wow.
We're going to do it tomorrow. We decided Thursday is our D-Day.
Okay, good. And it's all done online, presumably?
Yeah. So it's all, this is the first year you have to do it online, unfortunately. Because usually you would go to your number 1 school and you hand in the form, which is really nice kind of experience. Yeah. And you would meet maybe the con-rector, have a little chat. They get to know you a little bit, like maybe 10 minutes or something. I remember when we went with my oldest son, and they were a little bit surprised because he was only in the country a couple of years. And but it was really nice. We sat in the office and she was asking him about himself, where did he come from and why was he going to, why did he want to go to their school?
Yeah.
And what were his hobbies? And it was a really nice kind of experience.
Yeah.
And he's still there. He got that school anyway in the lottery, and he's still there and loves it. But now you have to register digitally, and 1 minute before midnight. So basically, you get a form. There's this organisation called ELK, E-L-K, and they send you the form because all the Group A kids are registered by their schools in this centralised system. And, everything here is sort of centralised and connected. So then they send the form to you via email, and then you have to create an account. Sort of an ELK account. They give you the username, and then you put in your own password. Then you have your account, and then once you click on that, you can see all of your kids' details right in front of you. and then you click another button, and then all the list of schools in Amsterdam that your child can apply to come up. So that's according to the level, the advice level that your child got from the group teacher. It's only those schools that you can pick.
Okay, so there's no chance of making a mistake.
No.
Good. Yeah.
So I'm not sure how many is in our list. I think maybe 25 approximately, and I didn't count them exactly. And then you pick 12 out of that, and you have to pick 12. Please, nobody make the mistake of not picking 12, because it's 12 for HAVO and 12 for VWO. If it's VMBO, you pick 6 schools, but you have to pick that number of schools on your list, because if you do, there's a Platz guarantee, which is you'll be guaranteed a place in one of those 12 schools. Yeah. And if you don't fill in 12 schools, then the guarantee is off.
Yes.
So then if you miss out, like if you put in 8 schools or 10 schools and you don't get placed in any of those schools, then you have no place, you're out colot, and then you have to scrabble around for a school. It's just,
and whereas geographically you could end up anywhere, presumably.
Exactly, yeah, or a school that you really didn't want, that you wouldn't have even considered putting in your top 12. So if you put in your 12, you will get a place in one of those. So how it works is, even if there's not enough places in those 12 schools for you, if you have a really bad lottery number and you're one of the last to be placed, and all the 12 schools are full, they manually then create new places. So they have that facility. It's sort of built into the system now. Yeah. And then they can create a few places at your top schools. Oh. It could be like top 1, 2 or 3. So in a way it would be nearly good. Anyway, it wouldn't be, but that's how my mind works. Yeah, so you could end up, like, if you had a really bad lottery number and everywhere was full, you could end up being placed at one of your top schools. Yeah. So
very, very
and they do that before they give out all the lottery results. So I think you may not, you're not really informed about that. It's just done.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And the other thing is, you only find out your lottery number as well after the fact. So you don't find out your lottery number once. When I register Friday night, we won't know what our lottery number is.
Yeah.
So you only find out all that information afterwards.
Yeah.
And then you kind of go, ooh, I was close, or that was close, or then you kind of start.
Well, and it's good because it just means it's out of your hands. Once you've submitted that form, there is nothing more you can do. There's no point fretting about what number you are or anything like that. It's just in the hands of the gods.
Yes.
And,
exactly.
That's probably for the best in some cases.
Yeah, I mean, it's fair in one way. Like, it is fair because it's totally random, the algorithm.
Yeah.
But it's also the case that, like, lots of the schools are not oversubscribed.
Yeah.
So they could actually place the kids who want particular schools. They could actually place them in the schools.
Yes.
Like, maybe a better system would be, like, just to do that and then run a lottery for the oversubscribed schools, for the kids who want those schools.
Yeah.
Whereas there's other kids who might want, their number one school might be a school that isn't oversubscribed.
Yeah. So
why not place them in that?
Exactly. Yeah.
Whereas with this lottery, they might not get it anyway, but there's kind of no need for that. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah, I'm with you.
So it's not there. That's why there's criticisms of this lottery system as well.
Yeah, I guess that would just be another layer of complication. It
would,
in the administration.
Yeah. But look, I mean, they could do it, and maybe they'll change that at some stage. But anyway, this is how it is this year. Last couple of years, it's been like this.
Yeah.
So the ELK thingy I mentioned there to you, that organisation, I had never heard of ELK before, so I don't know if it's a new kind of a thing just because it's digital or what. I've never heard of it before. But anyway, they have a help desk at elkadam.nl. elkadam.nl. So if you have any questions or need any more information about the registration, or if you're freaking out or whatever, you can call them or email them 9 to 4 p.m. up to Friday. Yeah. So that's good. So how it works is the Group A teacher fills out, they fill out an educational report. It's called an OKI doc. And that includes all the information about the child, their name, address, any student support needs. Basically, they pass on the child's educational data to the new school. Yeah. So that OKI doc will go to the school your number one school eventually. Again, it's all digitized. They have on that Okie doc is the advice level that the child has, their test data maybe from the last few years, because that test data feeds into the advice level from group 6, 7 and 8. Information about maybe their behaviour, their learning attitude, if there's an indication of need for special education, if the child has dyslexia. But they're only allowed pass on that information with the consent of parents.
Okay.
And if the child's over 16, the child has to consent. But the preparation of that Okie doc is a legal obligation on the teacher. So they have to prepare it, and they have to then send it to the parents. So our teacher sent it to me. We look at it. We correct anything. We can ask for things to be deleted as well. You can make a case for that. And if you just have to check through. So, for example, my husband's email address was wrong. It contained his old email address. Yeah. So I fixed that, email back the teacher, and she fixed it. So then I could see now online when I went into the ELK thingy, I could see that our Okie doc was how it should be. Yeah. And then there's another organisation called, this isn't related to the lottery, so ELK is related to the lottery. And OCO, so it's Onderwijs Consumer Organisatie or something like that. Anyway, in English, it's the Education Consumer Organisation. And they're an organisation based in Amsterdam that basically they're set up to help parents and pupils who have any questions about education in Amsterdam. And they promote their function is to promote the partnership between parents and schools. Okay. It's free of charge. It was set up back in what did I read? I think 2006. Yeah. By this woman called Karina something. I don't know the background why it was set up, but she obviously had some kind of an issue, I suppose, and she
felt there was a need.
She said, well, okay, we need something like this. Yeah. And they work basically with the city of Amsterdam, the municipality, and with the school board. So every school here has a school board. Yeah. Some school boards might have 10 schools under them. Okay. And and then a few school boards would only have one school.
What determines that then? Do you know what determines that? That seems quite.
What schools are in which board?
Yeah, I would assume that when you say school board, I would assume that there was a board for every school, but
no, like there would be parents organize, parents council and the and such like that. But no, the actual school boards can have definitely a small or large number of schools under their remit. Yeah. I don't. I don't know the ins and outs of the school boards. I do know that there are some schools in Amsterdam, primary schools, that would. I think they only would have one school. Like they're eenpitters. Have you heard? You probably haven't heard of them. They're basically schools that do not take part in the primary school lottery, the Amsterdam citywide lottery. Okay. I think there's around maybe 5 or 6 of them. Yeah. And they would be kind of a little bit, I suppose, on the side of wealthier parents, more salubrious kind of neighbourhoods. And they have their own, it's called the Eenpitter lottery, and they have their own lottery. So they would have their own school board. Anyway, again, this is another kind of anomaly here as well in Amsterdam. Like you can still apply to the Eenpitter lottery, but some people say there's a bit of cherry picking going on with the pupils. That's one criticism of it. Yeah. At the same time, it is just a lottery, so it's not. I don't think that's really the case either. But you would have, it's postcode dependent. So like you probably can only apply if you live, within that general area. You know what I mean? Yeah, yeah. Anyway, that's an aside.
Yes. So the OCO organisation, now that sounds really useful. Can you just repeat the website address, please?
If you Google OCO Amsterdam,
yes, of course.
It's the first result.
Yeah, perfect.
They also have a newsletter with tips. So if you register for their newsletter, you'll see it on their website. The website's great, and you can hit the translate button. So it's really great. They have a newsletter with tips to help with the transition to Middlebare School. So if you register with them, they'll send that out. They have loads of information, about switching from the school levels, like if you're switching, say, from the VMBO level, where do you go then? Because VMBO usually, it's a 4-year program. VWO is 6, HAVO is 5, VMBO is 4. So you would usually go there from age 12 to 16, approximately. So where do you go then? Because you can't leave school here until you're 18. So here they have, you switch from VMBO. You can stay on and go to HAVO, by the way.
Yeah.
That's one of the pathways. You can do your HAVO diploma, and then you can do your VVO diploma if you want. So these are all like really well set out pathways that you can take. But if you don't want to go to HAVO and you want to leave VMBO, you have your VMBO diploma age 16, you're maybe a practical kid, you want to do some kind of sort of a professional sort of
apprenticeship or something,
education, you want to come out and be ready to hit the ground running like age 18, 19. They have, I suppose it's kind of akin to apprenticeships. And so you go into MBO, that's what it's called, MBO.
Okay.
And that has 5 different levels. So they explain all of this on their website, how to do that, and explain about the levels.
Yeah.
It's amazing. If you want to do hairdressing, for example, that's level 2. If you want to do, I know somebody whose son is doing watchmaking, that's level 5. Yeah. Like it's very specific watchmaking. And then you are a watchmaker. I mean, imagine. Yes. And it's really practical. And I actually follow him on Instagram. It's beautiful, the work that he's doing. Yeah. They have, if you want to be a furniture maker, what else? All that kind of stuff. Yeah. They have different levels, 5 different levels. You can move also between the levels, Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. It's incredible.
It's kind of mind-boggling how adaptable and flexible it is. Yeah. I don't know how they stay organised, really.
So everything about education in Amsterdam is explained on the OCO website, all the ins and outs of it, They're also, they're just basically committed, I think, to improving the range of education for Amsterdam children. Yeah. Okay, great. So that's OCO.
Yeah. Any more resources out there that you want to mention, or should I?
Yeah. I have one more.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. The next one is Stichting VSA. Stichting in English means it's a charity, basically, I think.
Like a foundation sort of thing.
Yeah. So VSA, don't know when they started, but they're an interesting organisation because, they also kind of advocate for parents and kids in Amsterdam. What I just find really interesting, it's kind of a geeky thing, but they have on their Twitter page, they have a pinned tweet. And you can see on their pinned tweet the highest lottery number that was placed in a particular school last year, and also actually for the last 4 years. Yeah. So, for example, last year, the highest lottery number in Amsterdam that a child had was 7,671. Okay. So that means there was approximately 7,600 kids from Group 8 looking for a secondary school. Yeah. And on the pinned tweet, you can see, for example, there are some it's very obvious that some schools are really popular, or some of the streams within schools are really popular. So, for example, Metis, we did Metis Montessori Lyceum a couple of weeks ago on the podcast. They have a coder class that is really popular. So at the HAVO level for the coder class, the highest lottery number that got a place there was 2,115. Okay. So if you had a lottery number of 2,000 and you put the Metis coder class as your number 1, you would have gotten in last year. Yeah. But if you were 2,500, you wouldn't have gotten in. Let me see. Another super popular one, I was quite shocked at this, is Spinoza HAVO level, 354. Okay. So anybody who had a 360 lottery number, which is like really low, like a brilliant lottery number to get, you wanted to go to Spinoza HAVO level, you wouldn't have gotten in. Wow. Whereas their VVO program is, if you put that as your number 1, it's 1994. And then their gymnasium is not as popular at all, and maybe this is because it's a small, I covered it as well, it's a small gymnasium class. Yes. That was 7,030. So pretty much you would have gotten, if you put Spinoza Gymnasium, you would have gotten in if you wanted to do gymnasium. And that could be also, I suppose it's because there are 5 standalone gymnasia in the city. So I suppose lots of kids who want to do gymnasium gravitate towards those, Yes, so then the schools with mixed levels who have gymnasium they're not as popular for that reason. I know St. Nicholas had a gymnasium program up to a few years ago, and then they just dropped it because they said there wasn't enough interest in it. I also didn't mention in the podcast as well, I'll just cover it really briefly, and the reason I didn't mention it is because I was only doing the schools we were looking at, because there's so many schools out there, and I had to make a decision.
Sure.
But there are a few schools in Amsterdam that have tweetalig education, which is basically 2-language education, bilingual education.
Yeah.
And they are, a couple that come to mind right away are Berlage Lyceum, which is kind of just over there in sort of Rivierenbuurt kind of area. Yeah, I'm not sure. I probably haven't the neighbourhood right, but it's around there. It's a nice school. And then St. Nicolaas Lyceum, which is in Amsterdam Zuid. So they both have TTO, it's called. Yeah. TTO is bilingual programs. And you might think, why aren't you, Margaret, your kid is like bilingual, why aren't you sending her to a bilingual program? But the thing is that the bilingual programs here in Amsterdam are geared towards kids, Dutch kids, or kids who are fluent, native speakers basically, who want to learn English. So it's not the other way around. It's not for kids who are native English speakers who can go along to learn Dutch, if you like. You have to basically have a very, your very good, good standard of Dutch to go to secondary school, and if you want to improve your English. My daughter actually just decided, it's funny, she just decided, no, I don't want to do that. I want to just go to Dutch school because I'll get more Dutch input, because we don't speak Dutch at home.
Yes.
I mean, my kids sometimes speak a bit of Dutch with each other if they want to be secretive. Sorry. So she just said, look, if I go to, I need to go to Dutch school to keep up my level of Dutch. Now, her level of Dutch is excellent. She's really pretty much a native speaker. But at the same time, she thinks, well, if I go to a bilingual school, you do a lot of subjects through English, some through Dutch. But in 4th year, they switch, and then everything is through Dutch. Okay. So you do your final exams in Dutch.
Right. So
that means you kind of have to keep your Dutch level up to a high level in order to be able to take on the exams, because they're all in Dutch.
Well, she sounds very sensible, your daughter. She sounds like she knows.
Well, I've always said she's the wisest of the family. Yeah. She was about 4 years of age, and she's still holding on to that moniker. Yeah, she's very, very wise. So, but I do know that I do know a couple of friends who have sent their kids to, for example, Berlage Lyceum and in 1st year, and they're very happy. And they know that it probably will be a bit harder once they get to 4th year. But their kids, they like the school. I suppose the first thing was they really like the school. They gravitated towards the school, and they're up for the challenge. Yeah. They're going to wait and see.
Yeah.
So it just depends.
Yeah. Very good.
Yeah, I'll just give you a couple more numbers, because Fonsvite is a very popular school. We cover that as well.
Yes.
And for their HAVO, if you had 2,257, you would get a place, or below it. But if you were higher than that, you would not get into HAVO. So that's a popular HAVO program.
Yeah.
And also their Vivio program is less popular. I mean, it's still popular. It's 5,000, something like that.
Yes.
Cygnus that we just mentioned, 6,900.
Okay.
So if your number was below that and you had it in first place, you'd get in. Barleus is the most popular standalone gymnasium.
Yeah.
Off the top of my head, I think it was maybe 5,500 last year. Yeah. Okay. So you can see if you want to kind of geek out, you can go to the VSO website.
Yeah.
And well, it's pinned on their Twitter page. But anyway, check out their on their website as well. They also have a forum that you can literally ask questions. Like, it's sort of a live thingy. You can click in, and ask your question, and they will respond, kind of. And that was also, I also shared some 3 YouTube videos. It's on our Pinterest board as well.
Great.
That VSA sort of developed. There's a guy in there, Jan Smith, I think his name is. And he had problems with the lottery a few years ago.
Okay.
With his daughter, and she was outgeloot. I think she didn't get a place in any school. So he made these YouTube videos that can help you, he says, to do the lottery strategically.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's on the Pinterest board, and that comes via Stichting VSA.
Yeah.
So, like, I know what some people are doing is, I think this is more or less along the lines of what he would say, that for your 12 schools, say you know that there's some, because you can see the numbers now, right, on the VSA web Twitter page. You can see the lottery numbers and who was placed last year.
Yeah.
So say there are some schools that are really popular. You know they're popular by looking at the lottery numbers, but you don't want to go there. So for some reason, if you don't want, you have a VVO advice, you don't want to go to Barleas, you don't want to go to Metis, Montessori Lyceum, you can put the really popular schools at the bottom of your list. If you don't want to go, because you know, if by the time the lottery gets down to your 9th or 10th choice, those schools will be full anyway. They can't place you there. What are they going to do then? Then they have to go back and look at your top choices. Remember I mentioned that earlier. So there is some strategy there as well, if you are so inclined.
Yes. Goodness. There's always a way to play the system. Great. Okay, that was a lot of information. Margaret, thank you very much. Really, really useful. And as I say, anyone listening, if you missed any of the websites and or further details, then just go to our Pinterest page for Wednesday Damn Daily, and Margaret has put all the links up there for you. Right, Margaret, is there more, or are we?
No, I think I should shut up now. And my voice, I can hear my voice is starting to.
You need a honey and lemon.
Fail me a little bit. I need a big glass of water.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for all your insights into this Middlebare system. So incredibly intricate, and we wish your daughter and yourself all the very best. Don't forget to hand in that form.
I know. Text me tomorrow, will you? Make sure I've done it.
I will.
In case I have a brain fart or something. Just forget about it. Could you imagine after all this?
I know. Quite, exactly. So, yes, all the very best to your daughter and to everyone who's going through this process this year, an extraordinary year for it. And we hope that we've helped you along a little bit. So, right.
Goodbye to the Middlebare Mashup. I'm kind of sad it's over, and I'm very glad it's over.
Podcast Amsterdam.